In 1999, Ray Kurzweil wrote that a machine would pass the Turing test by 2029. That was the headline number. That's the one everyone quoted. That's the one skeptics circled on their calendars. But there's a different prediction buried in Chapter 6 of The Singularity Is Near, the 2005 version, that almost nobody talks about. And it didn't happen in 2029, it happened in 2023. Maybe earlier, depending on how you count. I want to show you exactly what he said, why it matters, and, honestly, why the fact that he got it right should make you more nervous, not more impressed. Quick background if you haven't read Kurzweil. He's been making specific, dated predictions about AI since the late 1980s. Not vibes, dates, numbers. He predicted in 1990 that a computer would beat the world chess champion by 1998. Deep Blue beat Kasparov in 1997. He has an unusual track record. By his own accounting, which fine, take with some salt, roughly 86% of his predictions have been correct. The Singularity Is Near runs about 650 pages. Most people bounce off it. It's dense, it's repetitive in places, and the middle section on nanotechnology drags badly. But if you get through part 1, which covers his law of accelerating returns, something clicks. His core argument isn't that AI will get smarter, it's that the rate at which it gets smarter is itself accelerating, and that changes the math on every timeline you've been given. The prediction. Here's what he actually wrote. Chapter 6. He's talking about the development of language models. He doesn't use that phrase, but that's what he's describing. He says that by the mid-2020s, AI systems will demonstrate the full range of human language facility, his words, including nuance, context, and the ability to engage in extended reasoning across domains. He also predicted in a 2010 essay that expanded on the book that this would happen before machines could match human physical dexterity, meaning text before hands. Look at where we are. GPT-4 passed the bar exam. It scored in the 90th percentile. Claude, I'll mention it since we're all using it, can hold a position in a debate, change course when presented with better evidence, and write a research summary that a professor might not immediately flag. Meanwhile, Boston Dynamics robots are still falling over on stairs. He got the order right. He got the approximate timing right. He was off by 2 years on the outer bound. He said late 2020s. It arguably happened in 2022 to 2023. But on a 25-year prediction, that's not a miss. That's a hit. What he got wrong. Now here's where I want to push back, because the book earns it. Kurzweil treats the arrival of these capabilities as essentially good news. He's a genuine optimist, not a naive one. He acknowledges risks. But his emotional register throughout The Singularity Is Near is wonder, discovery, forward momentum. What he underweighted, and what I think is the more interesting story in 2025, is the institutional response. He modeled the technology accurately. He did not model the humans holding it. He assumed implicitly that broad access would follow capability, that when language AI crossed this threshold, it would be widely distributed, widely understood, widely debated. Instead, what happened? A handful of companies built it, a handful of governments started regulating it without really understanding it, and the rest of the world is still largely processing it through memes and movie references. The concentration of who controls these systems, that's not in the book, or rather it's mentioned and then set aside. That's the gap. The danger angle. There's a passage near the end of The Singularity Is Near where Kurzweil addresses critics who say AI poses existential risk. He's measured about it. He doesn't dismiss them, but his response is essentially, the benefits are so large that even accounting for the risks, we should proceed. That's a reasonable position. But it requires trusting that the people doing the proceeding have thought seriously about the risks. Sam Altman runs a company called OpenAI that is no longer meaningfully open. Google DeepMind, which has published some of the most important AI safety research in the world, is also the company that shipped Gemini Ultra on a faster timeline than its own safety teams recommended. That came out in reporting from The Information in early 2024. Kurzweil predicted the capability curve with real precision. But the governance curve, the speed at which institutions, laws, and norms adapt, he was optimistic about in a way that feels hard to defend right now. The gap between the technology works and the technology is being stewarded responsibly is not a small gap. It might be the whole ball game. Is the Singularity Is Near worth your time in 2025? Yes, but not for the reasons it's usually recommended. Don't read it as prophecy. Read it as a baseline. Kurzweil tells you what the technology was going to do. Then you can look at what actually happened around it. The deals, the layoffs, the regulatory hearings, the copyright lawsuits, and notice everything his model didn't account for. The last third of the book, on consciousness and what comes after the singularity, is speculative in a way that I personally found hard to take seriously. Skip it or skim it. The first half is where the work is. One more thing. Kurzweil joined Google in 2012. He's been working inside one of the companies building exactly what he predicted. I don't know what to make of that. Maybe it means he's confident. Maybe it means he wants to shape it from the inside. Maybe those are the same thing. But I find it more interesting than almost anything else in the story, and the book was written 7 years before it happened. That's Book Remedy. If this was useful, subscribe. We're small, we're growing, and the next video is going to be on a book that almost nobody in the AI conversation is talking about.